My name's Graham Hendra. I'm the Managing Director of Freedom Heat Pumps. Freedom Heat Pumps are suppliers of air source heat pumps to the building and the plumbing industry across the UK. We also supply technical services, support and design services for those products. In a conventional heating system, you would have a boiler which burns some kind of fossil fuel like gas, LPG, oil, etc. The idea of a heat pump is that that boiler is removed and replaced by a system which doesn't burn anything at the source. It runs off electricity and absorbs heat from the garden and sticks it into your house. The idea being it's renewable and therefore an eco technology. A heat pump is really only a big version of your freezer in the house. If you think of your freezer at home, you stick a plate of food inside and leave it for a period of time. The heat is sucked out of your food, passes through the machine, through a pump we call a compressor, and is then squeezed out through a coil on the back of your freezer. So if you think very closely, your freezer is a food to kitchen heat pump, moving the heat from the food into the kitchen. We do exactly the same thing but on a much bigger scale. So we would actually suck the heat out of your garden, out of the air in your garden, or even out of the ground in your garden. Again, using the same technology, we will squeeze that through a pump. And because of the love of water-based heating systems in this country, what we do is we will then warm water with that heat and pump it around radiators, underfloor heating, etc., just like a normal boiler. It's much easier to sell a heat pump into a new installation because you're looking at a house with no heating infrastructure, so everything can be designed to suit. Heat pumps operate at lower temperatures than a normal boiler. So what you need is bigger radiators, slightly bigger underfloor heating and so on. So if you're starting from nowhere, it's easy. So the simple answer is new build is the simple, quick way. However, our product suits very, very well older installations, so we can connect into your existing radiators, cylinders and so on. There's many different ways of doing this. Some involve replacing everything, some involve actually replacing only very small parts of your system. We've come to EcoBuild because the heat pump market is tiny. At the moment, our product and its rivals sell something like 10,000 pieces per year. The boiler market is over 1 million pieces a year, and we're here to basically try and steal a little bit of that business and make people aware that heat pumps don't have to be difficult. One of the things that we're doing here at EcoBuild is launching our simple to install product. If you're a boiler engineer who's done 20, 25 years experience installing the same combi boiler, you're very used to a certain package and how easy that is. Heat pumps traditionally come as 100 different pieces which you have to assemble in the customer's house. One of the things we're launching here at EcoBuild is our fast connection kit. It's just a board with everything pre-wired, pre-plumbed, pre-commissioned. Stick it on the wall, connect the heat pump to it, connect your radiators and cylinder to it, turn it on and hand the customer the invoice. So what's really common at exhibitions is people say, I get heat pumps, I understand how they work, but why would I want this? I've got a gas boiler, I've got an oil boiler. There's a number of reasons for going for this technology. Generally it works very well when used against things like oil, LPG, where you have to buy your energy in bulk and store it on site in a tank. It works really well also against gas, but gas is so common and cheap and easy to get hold of, it doesn't often make economic sense. So at the moment, this sort of product works really well in those larger properties who are off the grid. On a traditional heating system, the maintenance basically involves wiping the unit over, checking it operates correctly, making sure everything's clean. And it's actually no different on a heat pump. The only difference being our boiler is in the garden, you're used to your boiler being inside the house, so the installer needs a coat when he's working on the unit. We need to make sure there's no leaves, debris, so on in the back of the unit, give it a really good clean and just check it's working properly. There's very little that you can actually get into, adjust and so on. Everything's done with software these days, there's no bolts and nuts to tighten up, so very simple to do. In a country like ours where people consider it to be cold, it sounds a bit crazy, the idea that we're going to sell you a box that sits in the garden, it's snowing, it's hailing, and we're going to suck heat from this cold garden, squeeze it through a compressor and heat our radiators. It almost sounds too good to be true. So let's go back to your freezer again. Today, when you go in your kitchen, you open the door of your freezer, it's -20. It's -20 every day in that freezer. -20 is a lot colder than it is outside in the garden. So your freezer is working away at these very, very cold temperatures, providing very, very hot temperatures on the back of the freezer. Try touching the coil on the back one day. It is really, really warm. So it's very simple for us to operate at these temperatures. In our industry, we consider colds to be -30, -40, not -2, -3. So it is possible for us to suck that heat out of the garden, just like your freezer does. Heat pumps are a simple solution to your heating needs. They can work in old and new houses, offer run cost savings, and are eligible for some government grants. If you're interested in them, please do get in touch with us.